Hello class. So what I'm doing here is the descriptive line edit walkthrough. So what we did in class was we did a quick walkthrough of how to edit the descriptive essay for specific things. All right, and so we're looking at trying to edit for third person because your descriptive essay should be in third person. We're trying to edit for to be and to have verbs. Remember, they don't really do anything, so you want to find better, stronger, more active verbs. All right, shorter phrasing. So if you compile together the description more shortly and more cogently, then it's stronger and better writing and more descriptive writing. And then always, of course, because part of the assignment is to include imagery, so similes, metaphors, that kind of thing. All right, so what we've done here is you can look, and this is what we did in class. Right, I have on my review, and I've got on my track changes here. Right, and so I took out the has always been, right, because it has a to be verb and a had to have verb. Right, moved around some information. It's located in Elk Creek, Missouri, so it was down here, and I moved it up here. I took out extra stuff, so to come and worship is sort of unnecessary because it's a church. Of course, that's why you're there. I took out, it says the church has. Okay, so a better verb, sits. All right, instead of unique, okay, so unique is sort of wishy-washy. Bucolic, though, describes a countryside, pastoral. It is something that is peaceful and outside and beautiful. All right, and then I'm taking out all my to use. So here I took out the use and changed around traveling down, blah, blah, blah. Take out the you will notice. All right, and then I have a better verb because I took out the you will notice. So now I need another verb. So the verb I chose was line. All right. Instead of is bubbling, which is two verbs, we could just use the one, it bubbles. So the creek bubbles and flows. All right, and then I've added in here a little bit of a metaphor. So like, so in this case, a simile actually. So like a pot on the stove. I take out my use. All right, revise this and make it a little better. I didn't want to say sits again because I already had it up here. So I chose convenes because I used my thesaurus and I love my thesaurus. All right, so this is what we did in class. So I'm going to show you again, all right, so you can see how I did it and what decisions I made as I did this, so that you can do this for your paper. Right, once when you've revised your paper. So first you wrote your paper, right? Then you got feedback on it. And the feedback was designed to help you with making sure you met the assignment, helping you with clarity, helping you expand your ideas. And then also at the same time, sort of, how do you want to narrow the focus of your essay? Because a lot of you had very broad focus and you want to narrow that down so it's really very small but deep. Okay, so you're supposed to have done all of that. And now we're working on the line edit. So this is the stuff that's the word choice. We worked on this with the wordiness and word choice practices and the quiz. So you have these skills, but now instead of applying them to somebody else's work, now you're going to apply them to your work, right? Which is more difficult. All right, so we're upping the difficulty level here. All right, so if I'm doing this, right, so my first thing is I've got to get rid of all my yous, all the third person. All right, so I got to get rid of these. So if you park at the bottom of the hill, the aged white chat. All right, so I already said the aged white chat up here, so I know I can take that out. All right. Easy way to get rid of the yous, just change it to parking. So parking at the bottom of the hill. The hill. All right, so you will be greeted. So who greets? So the old cement patio outside of the downstairs portion of the church greets the visitor. Okay. The old cement patio outside there. And this is unclear. So maybe greets the visitor, and the sidewalk stretches to the right. There you go. So now parking at the bottom of the hill. The old cement patio outside of the downstairs portion of the church greets the visitor, and the sidewalk stretches to the right. Stretches to the right, And so maybe it stretches to the right along the west side of the church and around to the front doors on the north. Okay, there you go. That resolves some of that. All right. You can enter. So parishioners, because those are the people who go into church. Parishioners, instead of can enter, they just do enter. So parishioners enter through either door, but generally people go up to the front double doors covered by the small extension of the wooden and tin roof. All right, so parishioners enter through, so maybe most parishioners enter through the front double doors covered by the small extension of the wooden and tin roof. So enter through the front double. Maybe it said covered by, maybe just below the small, below the, what's that called? The portcullis. No, that's a big fence. Small extension of the wooden and tin roof. It's good for right now. We'll come back to it. All right, as you walk, so let's get rid of that. So walking up the sidewalk to the front door. Okay, hold on. This is how I can fix it. Most parishioners enter through the front double doors below the small extension of the wooden and tin roof, encased in shade. Encased in the shade of 2 sugar maple trees and 1 large oak tree located on the left side of the sidewalk. Sidewalk is one word. All right. So most parishioners enter through the front double doors below the small extension of the wooden and tin. Okay, so this seems like extra information. The small extension of the wooden and tin roof is sort of unnecessary. It doesn't seem like I need that. All right, so most parishioners enter through the front double doors below, front double doors encased in the shade of 2 maple trees and 1 large oak tree located on the left of the sidewalk. All right, so that's better. All right, that it gets rid of my use. I've gotten through my to be and to have verbs. I don't have any of those. Right, good. All right, it's got my shorter phrasing, so I condensed my my details into smaller pieces. All right, what I don't have any similes or metaphors or any kind of imagery. All right, so parking at the bottom of the hill, I need a comma there, the hill, the old cement patio outside the downstairs portion of tree. Okay, it's imagery. All right, I've got that because I've used personification here. Because the old cement patio greets the visitor, and obviously a patio is not human, so therefore it can't really greet anything. But by using greets the visitor, I have personified the patio, and that makes that more of imagery, right? Because imagery is similes, metaphors, all those different kind of figurative languages, including, in this case, personification of an inanimate object, which makes sense because the dominant impression about this place is being a peaceful place, right? And so, it's peaceful, but it's also intimate, right? The writer writes this as sort of an intimate experience. And so that would sort of make sense. All right, so I'm not going to feel too bad about that. So I've done all the things that I wanted to do, all right, for this paragraph. All right, if I accept my changes, so let's say I accept all these changes. Accept all changes and stop tracking. All right. It's shorter, but it should be stronger. All right, so located in Elk Creek, Missouri, Bethel Bible, a beautiful church and a beautiful place to just sit and think alone when needed, sits among bucolic country scenery. Traveling down the bumpy dirt road to get to the church, the various green leafy trees line both sides of the road. On the left side, the creek bubbles and flows like a pot on the stove. I don't like the way that sounds because the stove and road, they have the same sort of sound, and I'm not trying to be a poet, but I'll come back to it. Rounding the last curve, the church's parking lot lives on the left. The parking lot situated on... Okay, so that's sort of redundant. It lives on the left. So, lives on the left, comma, situated on a medium-sized rise covered with aged white chat. So those ideas go together. Since we're going to talk about the sidewalk later, I probably don't need this. There. Yeah. Okay, that's better. That's stronger. All right. So what I'm doing here is I am walking you through sort of my thinking process as I am editing. Right? That's the kind of thing I want you to be doing. I want you to carefully line edit for word choice and third person and shorter phrasing and adding in similes and metaphors so that what you end up with is something much, much stronger. All right, and then once you have done this, and I do encourage you strongly to do this by hand rather than on the computer, because that way the act of longhand writing actually helps you sort of see things, and you want your draft to be really messy afterwards. You want it to have lots of lines and lots of examples of things moved around, etc. The actual act of handwriting it will help you do more of it. So I do encourage you to do that. After this, your assignment is to type up the line edits and then bring it to the writing lab. So I encourage you to do that. Please read your lesson plans and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.